Okay, we are live. So welcome everybody to my Discover Symbaloo little webinar here on Google Hangouts. We're going to talk about Symbaloo and all the cool things you can do with it, especially in a school computer lab. And then I have some time set aside for you guys to go use the tool and try out Symbaloo and ask any questions that you have and get a little help with using it. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. I'm going to show you a few things first. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
No.
Not yet.
I see it.
How about now?
Yeah, now I can see it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, that's all it shows for me. So can you guys see the Symbaloo screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh wait, it flashes back between that and Stephanie.
Oh, I see Teresa.
Mine keeps cycling between that and you, Stephanie.
Okay.
I think whoever's talking.
Yeah, whoever makes noise or has noise in their room, it will go back and forth between that. So if you,
Why don't I mute?
yeah, if you mute unless you're talking, that will alleviate that. And then just remember to unmute if you want to talk. Okay, so this is Symbaloo, and Symbaloo is an awesome visual bookmarking tool that you can use. It's web-based and lets you bookmark sites that you use frequently. So there's easy access to it. And the one I'm showing you here is a library Symbaloo, and this is just somebody else's Symbaloo that they made that I have access to. And you can see all the different sites they put up there. Many of these sites are things that we all are familiar with or maybe use in our schools. And what's great about it is this can be a home page for a computer lab, and students can go here to this page and easily access websites. Now, I've been doing a lot of Smarter Balance testing lately, and every computer lab I've gone into that's done testing, there are many email or URLs written on the whiteboards in the room, and students are expected to type those in, or perhaps the computer will remember it, but that can be challenging, especially for lower grade students. So Symbaloo is a great way to get the sites you want available for your students. And this is what it would look like. So they would log into the computer and see this home page, or they could, if they have one-to-one devices, you could make it a, put that icon on your iPad home screen, or bookmark it, have the students bookmark it on a Chromebook so that they always have this page available, because you can update it. And so as you want to take sites off or add sites to it, you can customize it for the day, for the unit, whatever you're working on. So it's a great tool. So let me show you a few things about how you use it, because it's not always that intuitive to me. So I think a little bit of help is needed with this one. So you're looking at my dashboard right now, and across the top there are these black tabs that I have added or created. So if we go to one that I have created, Digital Citizenship, QR codes, these are webmixes or Symbaloo webmixes that I have made. So every one of these pages is called a webmix. Now the one here with a lock on it is one that somebody else made. So I can't edit it because I'm still getting this one from somebody else, which means if this person who created this library of webmix changes the icons, my page will be changed as well. And I can show you how to fix that later if you don't want to have the updates as they make them. But I like to see what this library page adds, so I keep it as updates coming from them, so I can see what things they add and take away. Okay, here's one of my webmixes. This is a little one I made for digital citizenship resources. So I've put different sites here with different icons and created a webmix of these digital citizenship resources that I can share with teachers. And what I've done is kind of put them in quadrants, but some people color code them. So I've got curriculum here. So this is all curriculum for digital citizenship, and we use Common Sense Media, so it's a lot of Common Sense Media sites. So on the top left, that's all curriculum. I put digital citizenship videos over here on the right, so these are all different songs and videos about digital citizenship. And then I put other resources on the bottom left. So these are different websites, cartoons. This is Teresa House. She's in our call today. These are her digital citizenship web pages she created. The Cyberman's digital citizenship page, just other pages and websites I thought were helpful. And then over here I'm putting research. So this is a research article on teens, social media, and privacy over here on the bottom right. And I can add more research articles there. So that's what I wanted to do for this specific webmix, but you can add anything you want. So let's create one here. I just started this one called QR codes. So I wanted to put together a resource page for teachers about all the different QR code sites you can go to. And so when you get it, it's blank, except for the Google search in the middle.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah.
I lost the visual of your screen. Is there any way to get that back?
Does nobody see it?
I'm just seeing you. Your picture, your icon of your picture.
Okay.
How about anybody else?
So there's me again.
Ray, I could see your screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see everything.
Now I can't, but I could before.
Huh.
So
Okay, no worries here then.
yeah, Pilar, it might be an internet issue.
Okay, and I've got it back now, and so I'm gonna I'll mute and just go from there. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Sounds like a jungle.
I lost it as well.
Okay. So I opened up the chat so I could see you guys say that. So I've added it back, so hopefully you can see the screen now.
Not yet.
Yes,
All right.
I see your screen.
I don't see it yet.
Okay.
Do I click on?
It's working, so it should show back up. So maybe just hang in there a minute, and then
Okay.
if not, I'm going to go ahead and put the link to the website in the...
I needed to click on you down below, across with the pictures.
Did that help? Okay. All right, so for those of you that are having trouble seeing it, I've added a link in the chat. So you can see what I'm talking about. And then let's see, Ryan said, try scrolling to the left. Control panel, hover over it, and it should show Ray's screen again. Okay, thanks, Ryan. All right, so I'm going to keep going forward here, and hopefully you've clicked the link if you didn't see it. So here I have my QR code Symbaloo page. It's only got 2 links on it so far, and I'm going to show you how to add them. And they've got a couple ways to add tiles and to do things, which is pretty handy. So for instance, when I put my mouse over a new tile, you'll notice that a little symbol comes up that says Add New Tile. So I'm going to add a new tile here, and a menu bar comes out from the left, and I have 2 choices. I can create a tile, or I can search for a tile. So if I want to create a tile, all I need is the web address of it. And that I can just paste that in. So, oops, I don't want that one. We're going to use this one. So if I want to add tiny URL, I just paste in that web address, and it's going to read the web address that I put in there, and then down below, well, that's interesting. That's not what happened last time. That says, what, Maramuto KV Rescue? That is not the tiny URL icon. So I don't have to use what icon it defaults to. I can use any icon I want. So I'm going to change the name of the tile. I want to say tiny URL shortener. And I can choose a color for the tile. So maybe I'll make that one purple. I can click Show Text, and you'll see up above it's showing me what my icon is going to look like. And I can add it that way. So I could click Save if I want to, but I'm having trouble getting rid of this KV. So what I'm going to do is search a tile. So I can create it if I know the web address, or I can search a tile just by searching in the name of something I want to add. So I know I want to add tiny URL, I start typing in tiny, and tiny URL shows up. It's already got the icon. It's already done. I just click it, and it puts it on my Webmix. So that's a really handy way to add icons, to add little tiles. And when people click it, it takes them right to the tiny URL shortener. And there we are. So searching is an easy way, but everything you search for might not come up. And so you also need to know that if you want to add a site, you would just go to the site, grab the URL. So for instance, we could go to the Google URL shortener, and I could copy that, go back to my Symbaloo page, and add a tile by adding in the address. I type in the address, and it's going to give me an icon. It gave me a little Google G, and I could call it Google URL shortener, whatever you want to call it, and then decide if I want the text to show up. I always like the text to show up because it gives the name of the tile so they know exactly where they're going. Sometimes the icon isn't enough, and so I add the text, but you don't have to. Just check or uncheck that box. And of course, you can change the color of the tile if you are color coding your tiles, or if you just like to have a color there. And then click Save, and it puts it on my Webmix. So now I've got these different links to go to different QR code generators, because these all also generate QR codes. So that's a great way to start setting up, resources, even if it's just for yourself. If you want to add bookmarks for yourself for something you're working on, it's convenient, and also if you want to share it with other people. Now, once you've made a tile, this is what stumped me the longest, is how do I change a tile? So to do that, there's a couple ways. I can either right-click on it. Oops, it didn't go. There we go. Right-click on it, and I can edit the tile, or I can go to the link, edit it. I can copy, move it, delete it, or share it on social media. So if I want to edit this one, I would just click the Edit button, and it pulls open my screen on the left, my menu bar, so I can edit this and change anything I need to change. The other way you can edit it, which is even easier, is just to click the tile that you want to edit and go up to Options. Options turns blue, and it will open up the edit bar. So you can just drag it to Options, and that opens up the editing window. And you probably saw that when I drug it, Remove is also an option. So whatever blue is what it's going to do. If I don't want that tile anymore, I just remove it by dropping on the, I can't remove it while I'm editing it. Now I can remove it, and it disappears. Because you may want to come back here and update this with new links, and so you need to be able to edit it sometimes, and that's just Options. Or you need to be able to remove it if you don't want it, and that's how you create and edit tiles. And then the last way is to share it. And so this is to share my whole Webmix. So if I want to share after I put these tiles together, I just click that Share button. We're all familiar with the Share icon. And you have the ability to share what you've created. So once I click on Share, I get the Share menu. And then there's Webmix Details. And I can see that I have already made this public. When you first click Share, it says, do you want to make it public? And then you have to make it public to share it so other people can find it, and that will give you the web address, which is right here. So I can just share that web address with people. Or I could even embed it. I could embed my Webmix into a website. So some different options for sharing. All right, so let's go ahead and look at creating them yourselves. So hopefully everybody already knows the address, but I'm going to go ahead and just go symbaloo.com up there. I'll paste that in the chat in case you just want to click on it. So there is our web address to go to Symbaloo. I don't know if everybody set up Symbaloo accounts before. There are a couple Symbaloo accounts. There's premium and free. Free lets you create web mixes and share web mixes. And I haven't seen much of a need for premium. I was reading about premium gives you some additional sharing options and editing options, but for education, free seems to do everything that you need. So I've shared that, and so I'm interested to go around and hear from you guys now, and if everybody would just take a minute and offer up what type of a web mix you think would be helpful. So what's your idea for a web mix you might create? Or where you see this being used. So obviously, one use is in a computer lab, where students are coming in, they don't own the computers, they're not their personal computers, and so that students can get through and find the sites they need. And so I'm interested to know what you think about how you would use it or where you would use it. So if you would want to just, we'll go one by one and maybe offer up what kind of a web mix are you thinking of making, and then where you think that might be used. And let's start with Tracy. You want to start? Wait, you're still muted.
And the question was, how would I use this?
Yeah, do you see a way of using it, or do you have a Symbaloo web mix in mind that you'd want to create?
Yeah, I was actually thinking, Deja and I were going to be sending home a packet with the kids for the summer to help them with to stay current on their reading, and so I think it would be great to create a Symbaloo for, for Read, Write, Think, or different websites that they can go to visit throughout the summer.
Oh, that's a great idea. So a website takes them to your web mix with all the places they could go during the summer. I hadn't thought of that.
Up on there.
Good idea. What about Teresa? Did you have any ideas? And you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I have a couple of ideas, mainly around professional development for teachers and putting together resources for either by subject, like science, math, ELA, and have them color-coded by that, or even have a separate Symbaloo by subject. I don't know yet. But I also thought what might be helpful for teachers is if we've been getting a lot of teachers requesting intervention or materials for differentiation. So I was sort of thinking it would be great to put together a kind of a group of intervention materials and color code them based on the level of intervention it needs. So for intensive intervention, maybe have red, or just, so that was just a quick, just kind of the thoughts that I'm formulating now while you're asking these questions.
Good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
What about Stephanie?
The first thing that I'm grappling with is how a teacher could use this to tag each one of the folders for each specific period if they did the Google URL shortener or something from a shared folder for their students to be able to turn things in through the drive. And then you would have period 4, and you could have a Symbaloo for that period with all of the students almost arranged by a seating chart type idea to be able to have all of their folders in one spot. And then you would just have the direct link back to their folder. And I'm not sure if that would be advantageous over just having it organized in the drive, but it would be another modality to get there.
That's interesting, yeah, because you could put one for each period and then a tile for each student folder.
Right, and then thinking about student photos and a seating chart and substitutes, and depending on how far in you wanted to go with it. But then it would be a direct link to the shared folder between the student and the teacher for turning in assignments, or shared group folders that may have individual student folders in it, because I always want to cross-editing done on the drive before it's turned into the teacher. But that was the first idea that popped into my mind beyond here's all the sites that I want you to have access to in order to do your mission report or your state report or things like that as students are beginning to process and explore.
That's a great idea. I like the taking it up a notch with the whole seating chart, substitutes, organization. That's interesting use.
Thanks.
Ryan, are you still there, Ryan? Maybe not. We'll come back to Ryan. How about Pilar?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Well, I love all the ideas that I'm hearing. What I was thinking is my students were really trying to organize ourselves on how to do effective researching. So I'm just thinking as they go to certain sites that we could create ones that they could start with. And so, as we do science or social studies or whatnot, based on the topic, I could create, connections to them so that they don't have to. It would be a starting point and get them going, and from there they could stretch out on their own. But we've really been focusing on that this year, on how to efficiently and effectively start our research. And so I just think that might be a good way to help.
I like that, having a student input on the Symbaloo. So them creating some of the tiles or providing the resources for the tile. That's a great idea.
Pilar?
Yes.
I like that idea as well. And as you were saying that, I was also thinking maybe resources for how they evaluate a website. Either it's a sheet or and citation resource, just other little off to the side. You have your sites, but then you have that supporting information or forms or materials, however those are.
I really appreciate that. That's really important to us because we're growing in that. We're just starting out in our knowledge of that, and so I think that would be a great help for them and myself. Thanks.
And Ray, I have a question along those lines. Can you put a link to? Can you have a PDF? Can you have one of those images be a PDF rather than a URL?
You can, as long as it's web-based. So if you had a PDF hosted on a website or shared in Google,
okay,
you'd link it to a PDF.
Okay.
Yeah. Brian, did you have any ideas you wanted to share?
Yeah, I mean, I could just see it being helpful from the same page being available at all the labs. Just from an IT perspective, some normalcy between sites would be helpful, or even a generic IT page for people to go to with maybe some recommended places to go for support. That's as far as I can see it going from my perspective.
Oh yeah, I see a little form tile where we could submit like work requests or put in requests. Yeah,
I mean, it'd be nice to have a good clearinghouse, a centralized location that we could point teachers and or students to and say, hey, these are some good resources to start with before calling us maybe. Just because IT is usually we're pretty hammered work-wise, and so it'd be a good place, kind of a first step, I guess.
Nice, like it. Deja, what about you?
I was kind of thinking the same thing along as the computer lab, because I'm in there with several different groups, and that does take a large chunk of our time just trying to get them onto the website that they're supposed to be on. So just by having that already on the computer ready for it to go, they can just click the button, and so I don't have to go. There's only one of me in there with 38 kids at some point. So it's really nice just to be like, okay, it's the green one on the tab, and they go to that instead of having to type it in a bunch of times. So I think that'll be really helpful.
Yeah, and if you manage the Symbaloo page, depending on the week, you could move tiles around so it's always the first 3 tiles. Or
the ones that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it would also be really helpful, as our students have been doing research projects, to help have one central site for all the different science web or pages that they can go to. Or
yeah, that would definitely be good. I'm in there working with one group on state reports, and so they have specific sites that they're going to, and then I have another group that's working on animal reports. So it would be nice if there's the sites that teacher wants them to use for the social studies reports here, and then the science reports over here, and so that would be really nice too.
Yeah.
Or the teacher can even manage the report, manage the Symbaloo, give it to me, or have the link for it, and then they go. I have their students in there in the lab, but yeah, they can be going to the sites that the teacher has set up for them.
Yeah, you could have a Symbaloo page. I'm thinking when you said that, how are you going to manage multiple Symbaloo pages? But maybe you have, like, for your school, Redwood Elementary, have a Redwood Elementary Symbaloo with each teacher managing their own. All I have to do is click on that tile and go to that teacher's Webmix.
Yeah. Something.
Blaze, what about you?
I like the idea of little nested Symbaloo pages. It's nice. And a lot of the ideas that were just said in the last few minutes, I didn't even think of some of them, which is so a great place for me to go is to symbaloo.com/mix. That's you can search by the most upvoted, the most helpful Symbaloo pages that are already pre-created. So I got some good ideas there. like I said, a lot of them are already mentioned. But being able to color code, like your literary and poetry analysis, along with some other works that a student can access, and then as well as having a place to type those, so you have Google Docs or any other your content creation. There's one of them I'm looking at here. I didn't even think about this, having the grammar and style guides along with that, but all of this color coded. If it's not put together right, it looks like a big ugly screen. But if it's color coded, it actually looks very easy to see. So I could see this as a home page for Chromebooks in a cart, or yeah, a lot of things that I've just mentioned.
Excellent. So I want to share everybody what Blaze just said. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to put me up on top there. Okay, so he was talking about finding other web mixes. So to do that, at the top there's a plus tab, and you can click on that to add a web mix, and it's going to give you the option of adding a web mix, creating your own. So you would type the name of what you want to call it, or you can search for one. So for instance, if I search for elementary math, or I could have just done elementary, you'll see all the other elementary math pages that have come up. And I can view this web mix. So let's look through here, and you can see if they have descriptions. That's why it's always good to write a description when it gives you the option to. Find one that you like. 3rd through 5th grade sites, that's nice. Math, science, social studies, and reading sites for grades 3 through 5. So I'm going to view that one. It's got 5,000 users. That's people that have added it to theirs, so that's good. Christmas Fun is slightly more popular down below, but I'll do 3rd through 5th grade sites. I click View this web mix, and here's what it looks like. And if I like it, I can just add this web mix. So I'm going to click the Add this web mix button, and it's going to put it right here at the top of mine. So now, along with mine, QR codes, my digital citizenship, here's the library one, and now there's a tab for 3rd through 5th grade sites. And you'll notice when I add one, I think you can see that there's a little lock next to it. Those little locks means it's somebody else's, and I'm getting updates from it. So as long as it's locked, I will continue to get their updates and changes when they make them. If it's not locked, that means I have editing ability, and then of course it's mine then. I won't be getting the updates from the original owner. So it's a good idea to go through and search a little bit and find some web mixes that you want. Another great one I found when you add a web mix was Khan Academy. And they have a biology web mix, which I thought was pretty cool. So here's a bunch of Khan Academy videos on the different topics.
Nice.
And they've color-coded them, which is nice. You can add that to your web mix. So that's a good place to start sometimes, even before you make your own.
So
right.
how many different web mixes can you have?
A lot. I'm not sure. Let me.
Can you save a copy as your own, then you can edit it? You know,
yes.
you can just copy it, save it as your own.
Yes, and to do that, to save it as your own, what you're going to do is you add it, and then you see the lock,
Mm-hmm.
and then to unlock it, you go on to edit it. Let's see if I can show you, and then you just click Stop Updates, and when you stop the updates, then it unlocks it, and it becomes yours to edit.
Okay.
So I'm going to go, let's see here, this one, library. And let's see. Then I go over here and click. Oh, where was it? Library.
Can you add the Symbaloo to like a class website?
Yeah, because they come with embed codes, so you could embed it visually or just add the link to it. Okay, so hold on one sec. I'm going to model that for you, but I have to look at my notes again because that was something I had to look up, how to make it editable. So while I'm doing that, I want you guys to do something. I have a little assignment for everybody. What I'd like you to do now is go on, just on your own, and I'll still be here. We'll still be in the call. But in another tab, you can either start creating a webmix or search. And I'll give you guys about 10 minutes to go find some webmixes, and then maybe come back and share some of the ones you found that were helpful, or show us what you've created. Okay? All right, so that's your assignment. You got about 10 minutes at the most, maybe go 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll look and see what you've done. Any questions? All right. Okay. And again, we're still here, so we can talk to each other if you have any questions while you're working.
Ray, you can stop updates by clicking the share button.
That's what it was, the share button. There you go, and stop updates. So when you're on the webmix that you want to make your own, be sure on the tab, click the share button, and then stop updates. Thank you. And now it's unlocked, and I can edit it. Thank you. Who told me that?
I'll take credit for it.
Please, it's so smart. Oh, and while you're working on that, since we just showed you how to unlock one so you can edit it, also you might have noticed that on my screen at the top right, there's a little 5 with a red alert icon, and that gives you updates. So I was still getting updates from the library webmix, and every time it's been updated, they send me a little notification. So that's where your little notifications are. You'll know if one of your webmixes gets updated by the creator.
Ray, does this update in real time? So your QR codes, when you add tiles to it, does it show up? Is there a time delay?
No, it seemed to be pretty immediate on my end. Like if it's on if you update it here and there's a computer lab that has it as its homepage and they have it up, they probably would need to refresh it. But when they opened it the next time, it should be there. Was that what you were asking?
Yes. And also on your QR codes, can you go back to your webmix? I'm not seeing the tiny URL tile that you added.
Okay, it's showing on mine, and it's showing on my Google Hangout version of it too. So there should be 3 up there. You don't see tiny URL, you only see 2?
Correct.
I see 3. Tiny URL is there.
Thank you, Stephanie.
And it is my
Welcome, Ray.
So, Ray, are there any concerns about like internet security when you're using a website with a password? Like if we were to put our Gmail account as one of the tiles and it's connected through our passwords, is there anything with this site that we have to worry about, like putting personal information in as far as passwords and things?
This just links to web addresses, to URLs, so I'm thinking that if you're thinking linking it to like your Gmail?
Yeah, so if like, you know how we like, would the password, I guess the password may be just solely saved on that computer that you would get access to it, it wouldn't be saved like through the website?
Right, so I'm thinking it would ask you, if you ever clicked on that tile from another location, it would ask you to log in.
To log in again, okay.
Deja had mentioned students identifying visually where to go for the website of the day or by color code, and I hadn't demonstrated, but it's so easy. You just literally drag and drop. So updating your Symbaloo page for the next day, if you tell students it's always the top 3 or always in the top row, I mean, it's that simple. I'm just literally dragging and dropping to move them around. So very easy to shift what websites you want them on. I know with the iPads, I like to drag and drop the icons for the apps down to the toolbar at the bottom. So I tell the kids, the apps we're using today are in the toolbar, on the home bar, whatever you call that. And so this is a nice way to do that here. It's just because it's so easy to move them. You can always have kids look to a specific area, maybe for the website to start with. All right, just a minute or so left. And if you want to share something you found with me, you can, of course, paste the link in the chat, or you could share your screen. And the screen share icon is on the left menu bar when you put your mouse over the Google Hangout window. It's a green computer screen with an arrow. So if you want to share your screen, you just click that, and it asks you to choose what screen you want to share. It's really easy to do. Thanks, Tracy.
Can you repeat how you edit one of the mixes that we added if I wanted to move them around and...
Yeah. All right, so if you want to edit it, so if you want to move a tile, you just drag and drop it. If you want to edit a tile and change the tile itself, there's 2 ways. You can drag it up to options, where it turns blue, and then let go, and that opens up the editing window.
Well, what if it's a locked, because it was a mix, it's locked? How do I unlock it so I can move them around?
So to do a locked one,
Mm-hmm.
click on it so you're seeing the webmix, and then click the share button.
Okay, got it.
And stop updates.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Teresa. She just included a Symbaloo how-tos on YouTube, how-to videos. Let's grab it. Ooh, awesome. I'm definitely going to add this one. Thank you, Teresa. I'm going to add that to my Webmix.
Ray?
Yeah.
So again, it always takes me a few minutes longer than everybody else to get this. So if I wanted to see your mix, how would I access yours, like tomorrow?
Right. So if you wanted to access one of mine, you would either need the URL so I could share it with you, or you could search for it. If I've made it public, then it would be, you could search for it and find it. But mine wasn't named very original, digital citizenship, I think, and so there may be a lot of them within there you'd have to sort through to get to it.
Okay. So for like my students who have all their iPads, I would have to share it with them individually?
Yeah, for like your situation, I think if you, what would be the easiest? Probably if you email them all the link, have them access the link, and then just save it as a app icon.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
All right, so let's go through and see what people have found or shared. So I know that Tracy sent me a link, so I'll put that up. So Tracy, tell us about what you found.
I found it was a 3rd grade mix. I think I'm going to rearrange it so that I can put some links for language arts, for math, for science, so that the students can go and explore during the summer.
Awesome. That's a good one. It's got a lot of good starting stuff that you won't have to go find.
Yeah.
Teresa, I'm going to show the one that you made, which was, of course, the how-to, which is awesome. So here's a Symbaloo she found of all how-to videos, how to do all the different things on Symbaloo, a great one to have in your collection. And that is in our chat for you guys in there if you wanted to add it to your Webmix also. But you could also search for it, Symbaloo how-tos. Anything else, Tracy, you wanted to add? It says still exploring down there. There we go.
Still playing. Actually, I'm looking at digital citizenship because you had yours. I'm just looking at what else is out there on digital citizenship. So, quite a bit.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
So this was their idea of responsibility.
Stephanie, did you have one you wanted to share?
I just had to go in and look at the resources from the Symbaloo.com/mix that Blaze talked about, with the idea of I've got ideas on how to utilize it, but it's also nice to be able to look at what's already been created and used. So I found one on just middle school English language arts and found a cool comic masters and create your own comic book and different resources that teachers could then plug in for kids, whether it was at a one-to-one or whether it was a whole class or, depending on how they were able to utilize the technology, just playing around with all of the different buttons and dogos and class management tools and different ones that teachers had created on their own, looking at what was already available before creating my own.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. There really is. Awesome. All right, Pilar, what about you?
Not much. I'm learning more than I'm offering, but I'm looking forward to playing with it.
Good. I know there's so much, and I didn't find it real intuitive. I had to spend some time with it to remember how to edit a tile and how to do a few different things. And then the easy thing is they do have good help. So if you just look for help or Google, a question, I found every answer I need. But it is a little bit of work to get it going at first. I think if you used it, it would be real easy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Pilar. And Deja? Do we lose Deja?
I've just been playing around. I searched a couple math ones. and I've just been playing around with adding them. A lot of the sites that are linked to our district webpage, that's always how I go through them, is through our district webpage. So I'm kind of adding those, or trying to add those to my own page. So I have them all right there, and adding like my email and everything. So that's just what I've been playing around with.
Good, yeah. Yeah, a nice way to organize for yourself.
Yeah.
All right, and I see Blaze is ready to share his screen.
So we still have teachers that are using their whiteboards, which is great. Use that tool, I guess. It's still there. I don't know if the situation in Humboldt's different, or Del Norte's different than Lake County. But what I found was a Webmix that had interactive whiteboard, friendly websites and links. I can imagine this being displayed, and touchscreen buttons to access some of these resources.
Yeah, we have a lot of whiteboards, really a lot of whiteboards in our district, and so that would be a very helpful Webmix for teachers. What's the color coding? Did you figure that out?
It looks like this is a smart brand whiteboard. So all the blue is related to managing the smart device. The orange is Promethean. Looks like that's what the separation is.
Okay.
While the brown is the district's custom links. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because there's so many tiles that can be added. It can be a bit overwhelming, and I think I'd rather favor tiles that only fill half of the screen or less. That way there's always less to be overwhelmed by.
It is, and the color coding always helps me. When it's just random, it's a lot to take in. All right, well, anybody else have anything they want to add or share?
I think that when I have an idea for a Symbaloo, I'm going to research, just sort of look in the gallery and see what's already there, get some ideas, and then see how I could build from that. So instead of starting with a blank screen.
I think you're right. Like Tracy did, she found one that she could modify and really make work for her and edit it.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if you can add any kind of text to the front, like that kind of maybe explains your color coding, or would that just be in your description?
I was wondering about that too. Maybe it would have to be in your description. I haven't seen a way to. I guess you could link to a tile that is a Google Doc or some sort of website where you've described your color coding. Mm-hmm. But in fact, it was if you could just put a little key somewhere.
Right. So it must be probably description.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that wraps it up. We've been on here quite a while. So thank you, guys. I know it's late, and everybody's probably ready to go and go spend time with friends or family this evening and leave schoolwork. So thank you guys for coming, and you all contributed so much. I really learned a lot. Some great ideas you guys share that I will put in my bag of tricks. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ray.